So if you're a leader in Agder's public sector, you're probably thinking a lot about automation and the future. And you're facing a really fundamental choice. Do you build your tools on your own digital land, or do you rent a spot in the cloud? Today, we're going to dig into that exact question for a super powerful platform called n8n. Let's get into it.
And really, this question gets right to the heart of the whole challenge. Of course, public services want to use AI to get better, faster, and smarter. But for any government body, there's a line you just can't cross. Citizen data has to be secure, period. It's a real balancing act, and that's the tightrope we're going to walk today.
Okay, so here's our game plan for getting a clear answer. We're going to break this down into 5 parts. First, we'll look at the big picture, this new wave of automation. Then we'll introduce the tool itself, n8n. After that, we'll compare the big choice, self-hosting versus the cloud. Then we'll zoom in on why this is so critical for the public sector. And finally, we'll get down to brass tacks and talk about the true cost of all this.
All right, first up, the new automation frontier. Before we can even talk about a tool like n9, we really have to get our heads around the massive shift it represents. This isn't just about making simple tasks happen automatically anymore. We're talking about a whole new kind of AI.
So, say hello to agentic AI. This is a game changer. It's not an AI that just answers your questions or writes a nice paragraph for you. No, this is an AI that does things. It's built to have agency. That means it can understand a goal, figure out the steps to get there, and then actually take action. It's kind of like having a digital employee that works 24/7.
So what's the big difference here? Well, think about the generative AI we all know and love, like ChatGPT. It can draft a great email for you, and that's awesome, but that's where it stops. An agentic AI, on the other hand, it drafts the email, figures out the best time to send it, sends it, watches who opens it, and then changes its follow-up plan based on that data. See? It adds that layer of action on top of just creation. It doesn't just make stuff, it does stuff.
And listen, this isn't some far-off futuristic dream. Gartner is predicting that by 2028, which is right around the corner, a third of all business software will have these agentic capabilities. That's a huge jump from basically zero just last year. The train is moving, and it's moving fast.
So, now that we get what agentic AI is all about, let's talk about the tool that actually puts this power in your hands. Let's talk about n8n.
I think the absolute best way to picture n8n is as this amazing open-source workshop. Imagine walking into a space where every tool you could possibly need is right there on the wall. The saws, the drills, the connectors, the logic boards, it's all there. It gives you the power to connect literally anything to everything and build completely custom automations.
So what makes this workshop so special? Well, a few key things. First, you can self-host it, which means you have total control. It's open source, so you can see exactly how it's built. No black boxes. It's got this great visual editor where you connect nodes to build your workflows. And if you're a coder, you can even extend it with your own custom JavaScript or Python. It's incredibly flexible.
Okay, and this brings us right to the main event. You've got this incredible workshop, but where do you set it up? Do you build it on your own land where you call all the shots? Or do you rent a space in a managed industrial park where they handle all the utilities for you? That right there is the self-host versus cloud decision.
Let's just put them side by side and look at the trade-offs. With self-hosting, you get maximum control. Your data stays right there with you, and the cost is really tied to your own servers. The catch? You're on the hook for all the maintenance. With the cloud version, it's super easy, zero maintenance for you, but it's a subscription fee, and your data lives on their servers.
Now, if we look closer at self-hosting, the advantages are, well, they're pretty compelling, especially if you're in the public sector. You get complete data sovereignty, your data, your rules, your servers. You don't have those recurring subscription fees for the core product. And you have total freedom to customize it and run as many automations as you want.
But, and this is a big but, all that control comes with a ton of responsibility. Self-hosting is not a set-it-and-forget-it kind of deal. You need people with real technical skills to install it, maintain it, and keep it secure. You're the one who has to worry about updates, backups, and making sure it's always running. This is where the hidden costs live, not in software, but in people's time.
Okay, so now let's apply all of this directly to the Agder public sector. Because for a government body, that list of pros and cons we just looked at, it's not really a balanced debate. One of those factors just completely outweighs everything else.
Because at the end of the day, for a public entity, it all comes down to one simple, powerful question. Where does our data live? The location, the control, the security of citizen data, that's the #1 priority. It trumps convenience, and it often even trumps the upfront cost.
And with self-hosted n8n, the answer is crystal clear. You control your data, full stop. When information from your citizens runs through one of your automations, it never ever leaves your servers. You have complete control and complete sovereignty over it. End of story.
Now, this quote right here, from n8n's own privacy docs, this is the golden ticket. For things like GDPR, there's a huge legal difference between a data controller and a processor. By self-hosting, the company n8n is legally neither of those things for you. You are in full control. And for data responsibility in the public sector, that distinction is absolutely critical.
Okay, so the argument for self-hosting on data security grounds is pretty much a slam dunk. But what about the money? Let's figure out the true cost of ownership here, because it goes way beyond just a free piece of software.
The total cost of doing this yourself really stands on 3 pillars. First, there's the infrastructure you run it on. Second, there's the labor, the people who maintain it. And third, there's any enterprise licensing you might need to bolt on top for extra security.
Pillar 1 is the foundation, infrastructure. This is the direct cost of the servers themselves, whether you're renting virtual machines in Azure or using hardware in your own data center. It's the digital land you have to buy or lease before you can even open your workshop.
Pillar 2 is the one people always underestimate, labor. This is the real ongoing cost of your tech staff's time. Every single hour they spend setting things up, applying updates, monitoring security, doing backups. That's a direct cost right out of your budget. It's the price you pay for keeping your own workshop in perfect condition.
And finally, Pillar 3, licensing. Now, while the basic workshop is open source, to really lock it down for a government environment, you'll probably want a paid enterprise license. This is what gets you the mission-critical stuff like single sign-on, role-based access control, and detailed audit trails for compliance. Think of it this way. The workshop is free, but you're buying a top-of-the-line security fortress to protect it. It's an extra cost, but likely a necessary one.
So, when you put it all together, self-hosting means your data is secure and sovereign. And with n8n, your workshop is packed with incredible tools. All the pieces are there. So the final question really isn't if you should build, it's what are you going to build first? Are you ready?